Rolling.
Hi, it's Todd with American Party Rentals. You may recognize me from other rental videos such as folding chairs are not step ladders, or 5-gallon buckets are not made for tent anchoring. But today we're going to talk about the Zubri patio heater. When you get your patio heater, it may be encased in this packaging. You have your lid, the heater itself, and the propane tank. And you just have the two buckles. So when you open it up, this is what you have. The contents, you'll see here. 3 legs, the main body of the heater, this hook, which will ultimately suspend the propane tank, the lid, and the skirt to finish off. One thing you'll need before you get started, make sure you have your handy dandy grill lighter, or regular lighter also works. A couple things that I like to do first before I get too far with assembly. When I remove the heater from the case, the first thing I'll do, this is where this wing nut here is what actually holds the lid on. And before I get too far along, you'll have to screw this out a little ways. This top piece actually can be in a straight configuration or perpendicular. Once you have the lid on, you'll turn it perpendicular. So we'll leave it like that for now. The other thing I like to do first, get your hose untucked there, is we'll go ahead and put this hook, and it suspends from the hook that's in the center underneath the unit. We go ahead and do that now. It just makes things easier instead of having to stand on your head later. Now we're ready to attach the legs. Simply depress the button, insert the leg, 1, 2, 3. Now we're ready to attach the lid, or the dome, or the hat. Well, give it a little dip, and I find it easiest if you get that thing standing straight out. Hold your mouth just right. You can get it on the first try. Then we're turn that little guy sideways or perpendicular and you're going to screw down on it like a wing nut. And you just tighten it up until it gets tight. You don't have to overdo it. Make sure your lid is secure. You can set it back up. Now we're ready to hang our propane tank. One thing I like to do, just to ensure that gravity doesn't work against the safety mechanisms in place here, is I like to hang the tank from right here on the side. And what this does is it ensures that the tank, or the regulator, the connector on the tank points to the side. Come around here, Brent. Points to the side. What I try to avoid is having it point downward towards the ground. Like I said, gravity works against us in that scenario. Not all the time, but this is just one minor detail that can make a big difference in the performance of the piece of equipment. Before going further, I'm going to check and make sure that the control knob is in the off position and that the tank is closed. And be sure that when you check the tank, you're checking to make sure it's closed sometimes the tanks are actually forced really hard open and it seems like they're closed, but they're really not. And that can cause problems as far as engaging safety mechanisms unintentionally, and that'll give you problems or challenges. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and connect these Acme style connectors. It's a standard right hand thread. At this point, if you're ready to fire it up, we'll just go ahead and open up the propane tank, and then install the skirt for the aesthetics. A little Velcro at the top. Zipper up the side. Okay, so fully assembled. We've already turned on the propane, so this heater is ready to ignite. I'm going to draw your attention. There's a gap. This is known as the emitter. There's a gap just below the emitter, and inside there you'll see something that looks like Sir Walter Raleigh's collar. It's got a little ruffled thing that goes around, and that's where you're going to hold your flame. Before I do that, I'm going to draw your attention to the dial. In order to turn the dial, you have to push it in and then turn to the 9 o'clock position to ignite. And you'll hear the gas begin to flow out of the tank. But before you do that, you want to get your flame ready and in position. And once you have your flame in position, you're going to push in and turn that dial to 9 o'clock. And the reason for holding your flame in place first is so that the gas ignites right away. You don't want to have a bunch of gas leaking out before you put your lighter up there, because then you're going to get a big poof. Notice down here at the control knob, I'm still pushing in. When you turn the dial to this 9 o'clock position, you push in and you continue to push in, and you're going to hold it pushed in for about 20 seconds, maybe a little longer, and then you can let off. Assuming all goes well in your firing procedure, the flame will stay on. If the flame goes out at that point, you'll simply turn the dial back to 0 or 12, hold your flame up and try again. If you would, come get a picture of this flame. The flame goes all the way around the collar once it has a chance to fully ignite. And you see we've got a low flame here. Usually it fires all the way around. And once you've satisfied everything, you can crank up the heat. You're ready to party. One thing I want to point out is over time they've made these heaters out of many different materials. If you have multiple heaters, you may find that some of them glow an orangey red as the metal gets really hot, and others don't. As long as you're getting a nice strong flame, the ones that aren't glowing red doesn't mean that they're not working. It's just the difference in the metal that they're made of. So perception sometimes is that it's not working, but if you've got a nice strong flame, then it's doing its job. When you're ready to tear this thing down, simply turn the flame off. You're going to want to give it half hour, 45 minutes to cool before disassembling and placing back into its container, storage box. I hope this was helpful, and always any questions, you can call us at any time at American Party Rentals, Durham, North Carolina. Thanks again, and make it a good one.